This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today we're backstage at the 2011 Hootenanny with John Doe of X. How you doing today, John?
I'm great.
Yeah! The first time I interviewed you was in 1999 at the premiere for Sugartown. You were with your two daughters that night, and they were actually 3.
Hey, Blair and Eric.
Are these your beautiful daughters?
These are my beautiful daughters. They're also in the film.
You are so lucky, my friend. You are very lucky.
You're right, I am lucky.
The oldest one just graduated from San Francisco State with an environmental studies degree.
Wow.
And the youngest, who's 19, just finished her first year at UC. And the middle daughter is coming back from Australia on July 25th. She was studying abroad. So they're healthy, thank goodness, knock on wood. And they're, you know, they love me and I love them, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, and grown-up daughters are cool. Little daughters are cool too.
How does somebody that's in the music business, especially, X is a very cutting-edge band, and that was a very cutting-edge scene, raise 3 successful daughters?
I'm pretty traditional. X was pretty traditional. No, we're on the outside. We're a little bit weird. Weird is good. The way you do it is by tenacity. You know, their mother, who I'm no longer with, is a great person, and we gave them good values, and we tried to make them. They went to public school. We tried to make them as normal and smart and forgiving and open-minded and free-thinking. And if you can do that, then you give them good values, and you work hard and you pay attention. If I could ask the entire world to do one thing, it'd be to think. Just think. Just like for a half a moment before you do, think before you do. Just a half a moment. So that's what they've learned, and I think that a lot of people have been successful raising kids in entertainment, so I'm not that unique.
Brendan Mullen passed away.
Brendan was a great promoter, a good mover and shaker. Brendan was a friend. I didn't really like his books because I think he should have done more fact checking. But he was working on the more sensational side. I don't want anybody to die, and certainly not Brendan Mullen. He was a good guy.
I'm going to name off some names and just tell me what you can remember about them. Belinda Carlisle.
She's a pretty good singer, okay singer, and the straightest member of the band, and she shouldn't have gotten plastic surgery. Ho! I don't know if she did. I'm just joking.
You haven't read her book, have you?
No.
It's
I haven't read Bob Mould's book either.
Well,
and all those motherfucking biographies, it's like, you really haven't accomplished that much. So don't write a fucking biography. Sorry.
Well, the agents tell him to do it, John.
So you're doing it because you want to make money? Great. Why don't you do it because it's worthwhile? Or not? Whatever.
Well, have you read any biographies by any of the people that you were in the scene with?
No.
And then what about, okay, so I believe that you, earlier when you said about the books and fact-checking with Brendan Mullen, you were probably talking about We Have the Neutron Bomb, correct?
Yeah.
Or we got the neutron bomb.
I read excerpts of it, and stuff was really wrong, and so, you should check your sources. I'm available. Call me up. Is this right? Yes or no?
Bring me up to date on what you got going on right now musically.
I play with the Knitters and I play with X all the time, and I have a new record coming out in August, the end of August, and it's called Keeper. And it's a record in which I've written a lot of love songs in my solo career, and this one people actually get loved. There's actually some reciprocation. It's not all longing and loss and stuff like that. And I'm in a new relationship, and it's fantastic, and it's it's not soft or I can't change the way that I write songs, but it's sort of like what my past was before X. It's more like a Rolling Stones record or a record by the band or Neil Young or someone like that. And it's very much a band record. And I got Patty Griffin to sing on it, which is awesome. And Cindy Wasserman from Dead Rock West. And Jill Sobiel, my good buddy, she's singing on it as well. And Smokey Hormel, who's played with Tom Waits and did all the a lot of Johnny Cash stuff, the later stuff, and Don Was plays bass on it, you know. And it's like, here's Don Was, the Rolling Stones producer, and he just wants to play bass, and it's like, this is great. And because you don't know how great it is, you know. Don Was, who's got all this bullshit to deal with, and he just gets to sit back and play bass and have a good time.
How influential was Iggy Pop on your life?
You know, I came to Iggy later. I think the first record that I really listened to was The Idiot, and then I went backward. But he's a force of nature, and and he and I were in was in a New York Times style magazine recently, and I thought, shit, I'm in good company. It's like Brian Ferry and Iggy Pop and Nick Cave and you know, a few other people, and of course Iggy had his shirt off. It's like, I wish a woman would do that, you know, and everyone would go, that's fucking cool. You're 60 whatever and you got your shirt off and it's all wrinkled here, and it's like, and you're a woman, and it's like, you're the shit.
You've seen American Idol, right?
Just once. Maybe twice. No, American. It's like that was my favorite thing of today so far, is that Mojo Nixon has his song Elvis Is Everywhere, and he goes, there's one thing that's got no Elvis in it, and what's that thing? And everyone says Michael J. Fox, because that was when he wrote it. And then he goes, there's one thing that's got no Elvis in it, and what's that? And everyone responds, and it's like, the one thing that's got no Elvis in it is American Idol. It's like, yeah, that's true. There's no Elvis in American Idol or The Voice.
But you know what? Elvis never wrote any of his own songs anyways, and Elvis was more of a persona and a great interpreter of other people's music. And that's kind of what American Idol is. You have people interpreting.
What Elvis represented and what Elvis showed people was freedom. Elvis was Marlon Brando in The Wild One. Elvis was James Dean in, you know, Rebel Without a Cause. Elvis showed people that there's an alternative. Showed people the same thing that's going on at the Hootenanny right now, which is subculture. And it's like tattoo artists, hot cars, you know, customized cars. It's knitting. It's whatever subculture you might be a part of is important, and so I support that. I support variety. I support difference. I support free thinking. I support all those things. I don't support all the other, you know, bullshit.
Do you think there's any true rebellion in music today?
Sure. I don't know where it is exactly, but it's in rap. It's in you know, alt country. It's in people that just say, I'm going to do this. It's in Brooklyn. It's in LA. The only difference between now and then, whether you pick the then as the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s or whatever, is that there's more exposure, and you can get, you know, 10,000 fans through a YouTube video, or you can get 10,000 fans on your Facebook or whatever like that, and then your idea of progression and growing and our growth, things like that, becomes messed with. So, you know, there's still people that push that aside and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to, you know, just base my career and my abilities on Facebook or you know, auto-tune or you know, Pro Tools and things like that. I'm going to learn how to play. I'm going to do this stuff. I'm going to do whatever. So, you know, people that say the world's going to come to an end because there's no one-track recording, that's been going on forever. There are purists, and there are people that have their eye on the prize of making art, and that will never. I don't think that'll ever die.
John, today, the new critic is the person leaving a comment on your YouTube video. Do you ever read any of the comments on any of your YouTube videos?
No, I don't read any interviews or articles about what I do, because it's if you live by the sword, you have to die by the sword, and it's all wrong. I mean, I think that's a real weak spot in our the cycle of learning or understanding. It's even on NPR and stuff. They say, "What do you think, man on the street?" And it's like, I don't give a shit what the man on the street thinks. Usually the man on the street doesn't really get it. The man on the street's buying a bunch of, propaganda that they've heard, or things that are in the newspaper and stuff like that. It's like, what do you think, man on the street? And like, no, what do you think, someone who's studied it for 15 years? You know what photography's all about. Tell me something about photography. Don't ask me about photography. I don't have a fucking clue. So yeah. Well, it's just bull. It's like a what would they call it? Like a feedback loop. It's like hearsay and rumor and stuff like that. That's creating your opinion of what it means. And then there's all the disinformation and Fox News and all that bullshit. And it's like, no, let's get some smart people who know what the hell's going on. But we seem to be incapable of that.
Why do you think punk has endured the test of time?
I suppose because it's a subculture and it's real. We wanted to see the other side. We thought that we were part of the Beats and the hippies and music, rock and roll and stuff like that. But it was, really sort of a return to more traditional stuff, rather than what Linda Ronstadt and Fleetwood Mac and Peter Frampton and where rock and roll was in 1973, 74. Then there was David Bowie, and then there was Patti Smith, and there was the Ramones, and then it's like, holy shit, it's breaking loose. Punk rock is just it had a big influence, and I'm grateful for that, and I think that we did good things. I'm sad that most of the original punk rock bands, a lot of the members are dead. And I'm really happy that X is not. We're kind of the last man standing, in a way. I mean, the Buzzcocks are still playing, which I'm happy about, but the Clash, no. Ramones, no. There's a lot of punk rockers that have passed away.
What did you think of the first time you heard Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
I thought it was a great song, and actually, Dave Alvin and I watched a video of it, and Dave said, "That's just like the shit that you guys did," and I thought, not really. That's going places, and I thought, well, that's it.
What do you remember about Darby Crash?
Darby was a the lights go off, and the lights go on. Well, the movie What We Do Is Secret is total bullshit. Number one. The guy who's playing Pat Smear has a New York accent, and it's like, what? No. Darby was basically a sweet person. Didn't show any of his real serious intelligence on the surface. Acted like an idiot, and was a total enigma. But basically a sweet person. Basically cared about people. Basically, but would try to get the ring off your finger if you'd give it to him, just to see what would happen. He was a real, mixer, manipulator sort of person, but not in a bad way, not in an evil way that I saw. It was very sad and very hurt when he killed himself. But I sort of tried to counsel him at that time, to say, look, there's more to life than just this, But when someone's bent on that, that's what they're going to do anyway. So
yeah, you're right. John Doe, thank you for being on the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show. Blaring Out with Eric Blair show with John Doe at the Hootenanny, signing off.
The Blaring Out Show.